So what does scripture say? Right off the bat, I want to go to Proverbs 29, verse 7. It says, "The righteous considers the cause of the poor." And in parentheses, I put weak there because many times when people see the word poor, we think of economic poverty. We think people who don't have money or don't have food. That is not the only definition of the word poor here. And I'm going to go into the definition, the Hebrew definition of this word. But really, the heart of it is talking about weak. So the righteous considers the cause of the weak. And you can be weak economically, you can be weak socially, you can be weak network wise, legal wise. You don't have the means and the funds to have lawyers and advocates for you in a system, in a government that is set up. You can be weak in that area. But the wicked does not understand such knowledge, or another way of saying this is they do not care to know. So I'm going to say that again. The righteous considers the cause of the weak, but the wicked does not care to know. So when an issue of injustice is brought up and it is made known and it is brought to your attention and you do not show care for the subject, you are acting wickedly. You are walking in wickedness. You are participating in wickedness. This is not my words. This is the scriptures. The Berean Study Bible reads it like this: "The righteous consider the cause of the poor, but the wicked have no regard for such concerns." New American Standard Bible says, "The righteous is concerned for the rights of the poor, but the wicked does not understand such concern." Let's go to the definition of the word cause here. It's H1779. I don't play games. I don't do gymnastics or tricks. And it is the Hebrew word, I guess, deen or dain, however you want to pronounce that. It means, in the Strong's Concordance, judgment, the suit, justice, sentence, or tribunal. By implication, also strife, the cause, judgment, plea, strife. Okay, so the righteous is concerned for the causes or the complaints, the plea of the poor or of the weak, right? Those who are being mistreated, they have a cry. The word poor is H1800, dal. And that word means properly dangling. Dangling. When I hear that, I think of somebody who is struggling and holding on, doesn't have much strength, and is literally just dangling, just holding on. By implication, weak or thin. Again, it could mean physically thin because you don't have food to eat. So when people are in poverty, physical, economically in poverty, they can't eat as much food, so they're a lot thinner. Needy, poor, or weaker. So I'm addressing all of these topics. When I see this word weak, I'm thinking of all of it. I'm not just isolating and saying, "Oh, this says we need to just feed the poor." That's not the spirit of the letter. You can be weak physically, socially, economically, and systematically. I believe that the Israelites, under the authority of Pharaoh, the bad Pharaoh, before they were delivered through Moses, they were weak. They didn't have the power and the influence to have a voice and to promote change. So they were weak in their situation, being in slavery. If you are aware of an injustice and show no concern for it you are operating in wickedness according to Proverbs 29:7. Here are some things that I've been hearing over the last few weeks as I brought up social injustice issues on social media. These are some of the things that I've heard, and maybe you can add some more. My wife might know some more that I don't have on the list. I've heard things like, that's not my fight. That's not my business. These are Bible believers. These are Torah observant Messianic believers saying things like this. That's not my calling. Yahuwah is not calling me to that cause. God's not calling me to advocate for that. There are more important issues to focus on. It's called diverting, belittling, or downplaying a particular subject that's being talked about at the moment. When you say, oh, but there's other issues more important than that. We live in here's another statement. We live in a wicked government. It is what it is. Yahuwah said it would happen. Kingdom would rise against kingdom. Ethnos against ethnos. Ethnicity against ethnicity. He prophesied about this racism. So it is what it is. There's nothing we can do. This is the type of attitude that I have been witnessing within the body of Yahusha, the Messiah. Another statement. That's why we need to pray, brother, and keep our eyes on Yahusha. Just keep our eyes on Yahusha. Just pray. Let the wicked fight this cause. Let the world take care of this, Brother D. We shouldn't be getting involved in this. Let the world get involved with that. We should not participate. Literally, these are the type of words I've been hearing. We should not participate. Let the world participate in this. I don't have anything to say on the subject. I got nothing to say. Or, yes, this is unjust. What happened to this person? But the record of this person is, this record has a criminal, this guy has a criminal background, blah, blah, blah. I want to let my wife go ahead and speak on this part.
Other excuses I've heard, systemic racism does not exist. They're not Israelites, so we shouldn't fight this battle. I'm not for any movement. These people are not martyrs. We should only preach the gospel. When it comes to the race issue, it's just race baiting. Other excuses are it's all a conspiracy, or anything on the news, it's all fake. So I know it doesn't exist, whatever problems on the news, especially when it comes to the issues of race.
I heard this from a sister. She said, Yahusha told the sinner on his side, you will be with me in paradise, despite his past record. I find it extremely disrespectful when people, especially Bible believers, bring up things like from the George Floyd incident. All right, this man had a knee to his neck. A knee to his neck for overwhelming amount of time that was absolutely unnecessary. And I've heard people bringing up things, oh, but his past, brother, you know. I find that to be extremely disrespectful. Murder is murder. If it's not justified, if the killing is not justified, it's murder. And in this case, it was murder for George Floyd. And I find it extremely disrespectful. Yahusha would not do that. He would not stand for that. I just heard a new one today. We just heard a new one today. People say, oh, Brother D, but you don't know, with George Floyd's past, you don't know if that's Yahuwah's judgment on him. Man, and you know what I say to that? I say, man, I told my wife, people really go out of their way to try to find loopholes to justify their apathy against injustice. It's disgusting. Like, how far would they go? Here's my response to that. You're not Yahuwah, and you're not a prophet. So you don't know if this is Yahuwah's judgment upon that man. What you do know is that the murder this man was unjustly murdered, and by the law, by the letter of the law of this land, he was not treated correctly according to the law. The procedures were not the police did not go by the proper procedures to handle this man, George Floyd, for example. So again, I just find it I'm sometimes I'm baffled. I keep hearing new things, and to me it's a desperation for people to try to find loopholes to justify their wickedness, according to Proverbs 29:7. Again, which says the righteous consider the cause of the poor. You had people yelling at the police officers, crying out. They cared about the cause of the poor. That man, George Floyd, was poor in that moment. He was helpless. He couldn't help himself. Nobody could come in and physically attack those police officers to take them off of him. People were yelling on the sides, pleading their case for this man who couldn't plead his own case. Eventually, he stopped breathing and couldn't talk. And you have people sitting there. He can't breathe. He's not breathing. He's not talking. He's not breathing. But the wicked do not care to know.